Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. The only way to achieve the impossible is to believe it is possible. Don't watch the clock do what it does. Keep going. Success is not how high you have climbed, but how you make a positive difference to the world. The only limit to our realization of tomorrow will be our doubts of today. You are never too old to set another goal or to dream a new dream. Believe you can, and you're halfway there. The only way to do great work is to love what you do. Success is not the key to happiness. Happiness is the key to success. If you love what you are doing, you will be successful. The difference between a successful person and others is not a lack of strength, not a lack of knowledge, but rather a lack in will. The road to success and the road to failure are almost exactly the same. You can't go back and change the beginning, but you can start where you are and change the ending. It does not matter how slowly you go as long as you do not stop. Success is walking from failure to failure with no loss of enthusiasm. The only place where success comes before work is in the dictionary. When you feel like quitting, think about why you started. The only thing standing between you and your goal is the story you keep telling yourself as to why you can't achieve it. Success is not in never failing, but in rising every time you fall. The harder you work for something, the greater you'll feel when you achieve it. Don't be pushed around by the fears in your mind. Be led by the dreams in your heart. You may encounter many defeats, but you must not be defeated. In fact, it may be necessary to encounter the defeats, so you can know who you are, what you can rise from, how you can still come out of it. Success is not the absence of failure, it's the persistence through failure. The only limit to our realization of tomorrow will be our doubts of today. Success is not how high you have climbed, but how you make a positive difference to the world. Believe you can, and you're halfway there. The only way to achieve the impossible is to believe it is possible. The road to success and the road to failure are almost exactly the same. The difference between a successful person and others is not a lack of strength, not a lack of knowledge, but rather a lack in will. You can't go back and change the beginning, but you can start where you are and change the ending. Inwardly, everything should be different, but our outward faith should conform with the crowd. Anyone who can make you angry becomes your master. The first rule is to keep an untroubled spirit. The second is to look things in the face and know them for what they are. When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. He suffers more than necessary, who suffers before it is necessary. Be like the cliff against which the waves continually break, but it stands firm and tames the fury of the water around it. Nature hath given men one tongue, but 2 ears, that we may hear from others twice as much as we speak. People are frugal in guarding their personal property, but as soon as it comes to squandering time, they are most wasteful of the one thing in which it is right to be stingy. Begin at once to live, and count each separate day as a separate life. If you really want to escape the things that harass you, what you're needing is not to be in a different place, but to be a different person. Until we have begun to go without them, we fail to realize how unnecessary many things are. We've been using them, not because we needed them, but because we had them. If a man knows not which port he sails, no wind is favorable. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own. Here is a rule to remember in future. When anything tempts you to feel bitter, not this is misfortune, but to bear this worthily is good fortune. Man conquers the world by conquering himself. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. The things you think about determine the quality of your mind. If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth. Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more. That is poor. Knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. Difficulty shows what men are. Death smiles at us all. All we can do is smile back. The more we value things outside our control, the less control we have. Nothing endures but change. A person's worth is measured by the worth of what he values. If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. Anger, if not restrained, is frequently more hurtful to us than the injury that provokes it. No man was ever wise by chance. He who is brave is free. Reject your sense of injury and the injury itself disappears. The willing are led by fate, the reluctant dragged. What we do now echoes in eternity. While we wait for life, life passes. The one who puts the finishing touches on their life each day is never short of time. It's time you realize that you have something in you more powerful and miraculous than the things that affect you and make you dance like a puppet. Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. Be silent for the most part, or, if you speak, say only what is necessary and in a few words. All cruelty springs from weakness. It is a rough road that leads to the heights of greatness. Do every act of your life as though it were the very last act of your life. Whatever can happen at any time can happen today. Don't explain your philosophy, embody it. Because a thing seems difficult for you, do not think it impossible for anyone to accomplish. Freedom is secured not by the fulfilling of men's desires, but by the removal of desire. Circumstances don't make the man, they only reveal him to himself. It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live. The key is to keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best. Humans have come into being for the sake of each other, so either teach them or learn to bear them. It can ruin your life only if it ruins your character. Otherwise, it cannot harm you inside or out. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Mastery of reading and writing requires a master, still more so life. Life is very short and anxious for those who forget the past, neglect the present, and fear the future. Be tolerant with others and strict with yourself. Your days are numbered. Use them to throw open the windows of your soul to the sun. If you do not, the sun will soon set, and you with it. The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. Sometimes even to live is an act of courage. It's not that we have little time, but more that we waste a good deal of it. Whatever happens at all happens as it should. You will find this true if you watch narrowly. Our life is what our thoughts make it. How much more grievous are the consequences of anger than the causes of it? He who fears death will never do anything worthy of a man who is alive. We live only now. Everything else is either past or is unknown. Progress is not achieved by luck or accident, but by working on yourself daily. In banquets remember that you entertain two guests, body and soul, and whatever you shall have given to the body you soon eject. But what you shall have given to the soul, you keep always. No person has the power to have everything they want, but it is in their power not to want what they don't have, and to cheerfully put to good use what they do have. If what you have seems insufficient to you, then though you possess the world, you will yet be miserable. He is the most powerful who has power over himself. Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body. As is a tale, so is life. Not how long it is, but how good it is what matters. Life, if well lived, is long enough. The best answer to anger is silence. Agreed. But nature set a limit on that, as it did on eating and drinking. Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul. He who has injured thee was either stronger or weaker than thee. If weaker, spare him; if stronger, spare thyself. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. To wish to be well is a part of becoming well. Perceive without conceit, release without struggle. No great thing is created suddenly any more than a bunch of grapes or a fig. If you tell me that you desire a fig, I answer that there must be time. Let it first blossom, then bear fruit, then ripen. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. No man can escape his destiny, the next inquiry being how he may best live the time that he has to live. The whole future lies in uncertainty. Live immediately. Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. Life is very short and anxious for those who forget the past, neglect the present, and fear the future. We suffer not from the events in our lives, but from our judgment about them. It is our attitude toward events, not events themselves, which we can control. Nothing is by its own nature calamitous. Even death is terrible only if we fear it. If evil be said of thee, and if it be true, correct thyself. If it is a lie, laugh at it. Attach yourself to what is spiritually superior, regardless of what other people think or do. Hold to your true aspirations no matter what is going on around you. Confine yourself to the present. No man is free who is not a master of himself. Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. If you live in harmony with nature, you will never be poor. If you live according to what others think, you will never be rich. Learn to be indifferent to what makes no difference. The greatest blessings of mankind are within us and within our reach. A wise man is content with his lot, whatever it may be, without wishing for what he has not. Man is not worried by real problems so much as by his imagined anxieties about real problems. Small-minded people blame others. Average people blame themselves. The wise see all blame as foolishness. The longer a man is lonely, the more he discovers the hidden depths of his solitude and the resilience of his own spirit. Respect the past. Be open to the future. The life we receive is not short, but we make it so. We are not ill-provided, but use what we have wastefully. Stay calm and serene, regardless of what life throws at you. To be everywhere is to be nowhere. The greatest revolution of our generation is the discovery that human beings, by changing the inner attitudes of their minds, can change the outer aspects of their lives. Thoughts become perception. Perception becomes reality. Alter your thoughts. Alter your reality. The greatest weapon against stress is our ability to choose one thought over another. To kill time is not murder, it's suicide. A great many people think they are thinking when they are merely rearranging their prejudices. Man lives for science as well as bread. Formula to live your dream. 1. Be bold. 2. Begin now. 3. No exceptions. The greatest discovery of the 20th century is that our attitude of mind determines our quality of life, not circumstances. The ideas gained by men before they are 25 are practically the only ideas they shall have in their lives. Most unhappiness is caused because people listen to themselves instead of talking to themselves. There is a law in psychology that if you form a picture in your mind of what you would like to be, and you keep and hold that picture there long enough, you will soon become exactly as you have been thinking. Whenever you're in conflict with someone, there is one factor that can make the difference between damaging your relationship and deepening it. That factor is attitude. Success or failure depends more upon attitude than upon capacity. Successful men act as though they have accomplished or are enjoying something. Soon it becomes a reality. Act, look, feel successful, conduct yourself accordingly, and you will be amazed at the positive results. If any organism fails to fulfill its potentialities, it becomes sick. Once a decision is reached, stop worrying and start working. Believe that life is worth living, and your belief will help create the fact. The deepest principle in human nature is the craving to be appreciated. A winner's attitude. It may be difficult, but it's possible. A loser's attitude. It may be possible, but it's too difficult. Common sense and a sense of humor are the same thing. moving at different speeds. A sense of humor is just common sense dancing. The great use of life is to spend it for something that will outlast it. There is but one cause of human failure, and that is man's lack of faith in his true self. Do something every day for no other reason than you would rather not do it, so that when the hour of dire need draws nigh, it may find you not unnerved and untrained to stand the test. Men are now proud of belonging to a conquering nation, and without a murmur they lay down their persons and their wealth, if by so doing they may fend off subjection. The worst thing that can happen to a good teacher is to get a bad conscience about her profession because she feels herself hopeless as a psychologist. The God of many men is little more than their court of appeal against the damnatory judgment passed on their failures by the opinion of the world. The baby, assailed by eyes, ears, nose, skin, and entrails at once, feels it all as one great blooming, buzzing confusion. Men's activities are occupied in two ways: in grappling with external circumstances, and in striving to set things at one in their own topsy-turvy mind. The good we do today becomes the happiness of tomorrow. Most people live, whether physically, intellectually, or morally, in a very restricted circle of their potential being. Tension is a habit. Relaxing is a habit. Bad habits can be broken, good habits formed. Man can change his life simply by changing his attitude. A man may not achieve everything he has dreamed, but he will never achieve anything great without having dreamed it first. It is only by risking our persons from one hour to another that we live at all. There is an organic affinity between joyousness and tenderness. We want all our friends to tell us our bad qualities. It is only the particular ass that does so whom we can't tolerate. If you give appreciation to people, you win their goodwill. But more important than that, practicing this philosophy has made a different person of me. The deepest longing in the human breast is the desire for appreciation. Men habitually use only a small part of the power which they actually possess. Whenever two people meet, there are really 6 people present. There is each man as he sees himself, each man as the other person sees him, and each man as he really is. Happiness comes of the capacity to feel deeply, to enjoy simply, to think freely, to risk life, to be needed, which give happiness. Thomas Jefferson. We never enjoy perfect happiness. Our most fortunate successes are mingled with sadness. Some anxieties always perplex the reality of our satisfaction. Faith means belief in something concerning which doubt is theoretically possible. An educated memory depends on an organized system of associations, and its goodness depends on 2 of their peculiarities. First, on the persistency of the associations, and second, on their number. The world is all the richer for having a devil in it, so long as we keep our foot upon his neck. Life shall be built in doing and suffering and creating. Religion shall mean for us the feelings, acts, and experiences of individual men in their solitude. It is well for the world that in most of us, by the age of 30, the character has set like plaster and will never soften again. Philosophy is an unusually stubborn attempt to think clearly. True is the name for whatever idea starts the verification process. Useful is the name for its completed function and experience. There are two lives, the natural and the spiritual, and we must lose the one before we can participate in the other. An act has no ethical quality whatever unless it be chosen out of several, all equally possible. Knowledge about life is one thing. Effective occupation of a place in life, with its dynamic currents passing through your being, is another. History is a bath of blood. To study the abnormal is the best way of understanding the normal. Serious development of the personality begins at the closet door. Women find the men attractive who can make them laugh. A chain is no stronger than its weakest link, and life is, after all, a chain. Is life worth living? It all depends on the liver. The sway of alcohol over mankind is unquestionably due to its power to stimulate the mystical faculties of human nature, usually crushed to earth by the cold facts and dry criticisms of the sober hour. We have nothing to do but to receive, resting absolutely upon the merit, power, and love of our Redeemer. New food can only be taken when the old one is out of the stomach. Everything is good in moderation. Let food be thy medicine, and medicine be thy food. Very often, the best medicine is to go without it. If you are in a bad mood, go for a walk. If you're still in a bad mood, go for another walk. Excessive food causes disease. All disease begins in the gut. Any excitement and strong manifestation of feelings is dangerous. In everything, a slow transition from one to another is important. When in a state of hunger, one ought not to undertake labor. Never put off treatment until later. Both sleep and insomnolence, when immoderate, are bad. Tell me what you eat, and I'll tell you what illness do you have. Disease that come from overwork are cured by rest, and those that come from idleness are cured by work. The human soul develops until death. Time always contains an opportunity. The natural healing force within each of us is the greatest force in getting well. It is necessary to treat not only the disease, but also to counteract the causes that cause it. Disease always comes either from an excess or from a deficiency, that is, from an imbalance. Any excess is contrary to nature. Doctor's first commandment, do no harm. When the brain is healthy and in a calm state, a person thinks sensibly. The drunkenness of fathers and mothers is the cause of the weakness and sickness of children. The doctor heals the disease, but nature heals. Some believe that we feel with the heart, because it shrinks and freezes with sadness and worries. However, the heart is not capable of understanding and thinking. Only the brain can do this, and it is he who gives rise to our feelings. Hunger weakens and kills a person. Heavy food destroys the human body. Therefore, you need to look for the middle. In despair, the sick person brings himself closer to death. Just as clothiers clean cloth, knocking it out of dust, so gymnastics cleanses the body. That which cannot be cured with medicine is cured with a knife. That which is not cured by the knife is cured by red-hot iron. That which cannot be cured by red-hot iron should be considered incurable. Work, good spirits, and the striving of the mind for perfection, for knowledge, lead to results that adorn life. Neither satiety nor hunger, and nothing else is good if one transgresses the measure of nature. Declare the past, diagnose the present, foretell the future. Idleness is the source of all vices. Where there is no idleness, there is no evil. Frequent and causeless fatigue portends an impending illness. The doctor is a philosopher, for there is no great difference between wisdom and medicine. The brain contains our mind, and madness and insanity, and all our fears and horrors, including dreams, as well as all our abilities and negligence. Burning yourself will always make you shine for others. Avoid sex in old age, because at this age it is safer to use other sources of pleasure. There are, in fact, two things: to know and to believe one knows. To know is science. To believe one knows is ignorance. Do not tell your illnesses to anyone, otherwise you risk getting advice that can harm you.